Before we get started, I actually want to make a really exciting announcement, at least to me. I actually went ahead and made the Let's Play channel that a lot of you were asking for and talking about for doing more Let's Plays. I think we've hit a point on Degenerate J on this channel where they don't really fit in anymore, actually, other than live streams for just hanging out. I think the content here has really swayed more to things like top 5 lists, covering articles, doing reviews of games and movies, and comic books, other stuff like that. And we've swayed away from Let's Play. So I'd like to create something to bring back sort of where I started originally on YouTube. That is the Let's Play channel, Degenerate Plays. I'm going to show you it on the screen here. I'm going to have a link down in the description below. I really am excited for this, guys, and I hope you will join me on another journey. Don't worry, this channel here is not going anywhere. This is my primary channel. That channel is an as I have time to hang out and make fun Let's Plays with my friends Nate, T, and even sometimes me or other guests that you might not be expecting. I hope you'll check it out, subscribe for the content over there, and turn on notifications. I'm going to start uploading there at the beginning of May, and I am really honestly super hyped to get another venture started. I know I'm already overloading myself, but I'm going to, turn around my resources, kind of redistribute some stuff, and get both of these working at full capacity so that we can all enjoy them together. Thank you so much for checking this out and listening, and let's jump right into the video about the Joker game. Today I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about a suggestion I've been seeing pop up over and over, sort of on the Discord, on YouTube, everywhere. And that's why a Joker game would be easy or hard to make. And frankly, I think it would be very hard to make. I want to talk about that for a little bit. I have not done an entry in this series for a while, so for those of you who are not familiar, the point of why a game is easy or hard to make is not to say that something is either a pushover and someone's lazy for not making it, or to say that something is so hard it can never be made. It's just to talk about the potential difficulties that I could see as a fan of some of these characters and of different properties in adapting them into a video game. So with that said, if you enjoy what you see in this video, please be sure to like and subscribe and turn that bell on for notifications. A lot of people are not seeing some of the new uploads, and let's jump right into it. The first thing with this that makes it hard to make, in my opinion, is just the maturity of the character. And we're going to get into some spoilers here for some different events with this character. So for example, some of the things I'm going to mention are from Batman: A Death in the Family, Death of the Family, these are both graphic novels, Batman Endgame, a graphic novel, not the movie, The Dark Knight Returns, the movie and comic, and the Joker movie, along with some stuff from the Batman Who Laughs. I'm not going to go heavily into spoilers, but you've been warned there's going to be some stuff in here. The maturity of the Joker character is pretty unprecedented in terms of a villain. I mean, it doesn't get much darker than him, especially in comic books. And now granted, you'll have some super edgy characters in something like Evil Ernie or like some smaller comic book series that will be a match for Joker in terms of sadistic punishment of other people, or maybe like just how graphic they are. I will concede that for sure. But in mainline comics and movies, he's pretty much the cream of the crop. So to go over some of the stuff Joker has done in multiple continuities and canons, because this character is graphic in pretty much every one. Joker has, in Death in the Family, murdered Robin, just straight up murdered him, and just left him for dead, just to haunt Batman, pretty much. That's it, as a joke. This is not a pushover character. Joker has actually arranged for his own face to be cut off in the New 52 continuity so that he could wear it as a mask when he came back in Death of the Family. Joker in the movie murdered multiple people, and I don't want to get too far into that because I do think some people still haven't seen it, but he did sort of get sadistic in that movie as well, even though that was a much different take on the character. It's still true to formula. Back to formula. Now, if we look at some other continuities of Joker, if you look at something like Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Joker straight up murders an entire studio audience just for kicks. It's just funny to him. This is essentially, it would sort of be like your entire game if you went with this sort of theme of the Joker being the no Russian level in Modern Warfare 2 over and over again. I mean, this man is a one-man slaughterhouse. He is not afraid to kill anyone for any reason. It just doesn't matter to him. It's a joke. And that's sort of why he works as an opposite to Batman and why he works as an antagonist to Batman. If you start making him the starring role where you play as Joker, there is no Batman going against you, or at the very least you are not in the role of the Batman, you now are at this point where you have to control this character for an entire game. You have to be this dark character, this dark reflection of Batman, or just this gruesome character that's willing to carve up his own face, that's willing to play a joke on Batman to make him think he cut the faces off of the entire Bat family, that's willing to murder a studio audience, that's willing to kill multiple people with zero remorse because it's all just a joke. This is a hard thing to do in game format and give the player control over. And you might say, well, no, it's not. But here's the thing. It actually really is. If we look at the closest thing that we have to something like this, it's always met with a lot of controversy. So that's not always a bad thing, by the way. Something like No Russian was met with a ton of controversy, and Activision just sort of didn't give a crap and said, oh well, get over it, it's in the game. And they even brought it back when they remastered the campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So that's something that was sort of here to stay and didn't go away despite controversy, but that was one level. It was not an entire game focused on it. It was about 15-20 minutes, maybe. Now, if we look at something just based on brutal murder that doesn't have any sort of, I guess, depth to it, something like hatred, that entire game was this no Russian idea of just going around and murdering people. And it was met with a ton of controversy and backlash because there was no heart or soul to the game. It was just edgy for edginess' sake. And that's sort of the issue that you have with a Joker game, is how do you make a game that is not just going to go in on the edginess of the Joker just to be edgy and graphic? Because at the end of the day, that's not really what players would want. The Joker is a complex and deep character, and if you just break him down to those fundamental graphic and gruesome acts, you don't get that. The issue is, how do you do this game without breaking him down to those while allowing player agency and control of the Joker the entire time? This isn't something like Grand Theft Auto where you are encouraged to go through the storyline, people die, but they never tell you, hey, go gun down civilians. This is someone who would walk through the street gunning down civilians as a joke. It's funny to him. You know, you watch something like The Dark Knight. He has no regard for human life at all, just none. And that's sort of the issue that you have with this. That's the main issue I see, is just the controversial, mature tone of this character compared to a lot of other characters. You also have the issue that most people who want to play as a villain actually want to play as an anti-hero. They want to play as someone who's not good, but not entirely evil. You know, this is why you don't see video games about the most repulsive members of our society. You don't see them, you don't see many video games where you specifically play as a serial killer out just killing people because it's funny or fun. You don't see a lot of games where you play as something like a rapist. Anything like that is met with huge backlash and controversy because most people are decent people who actually don't even enjoy stepping into those shoes, actually. They know that it's bad. And that's not to say that gaming encourages violence or encourages any kind of graphic like behavior in real life. I really think the obvious studies have shown the opposite of that. But it's that everyone wants to be certain archetypes, and very few people just want to be the villain the whole time with zero redeemable qualities. Even the games that give you the ability to be the villain, there's often either elements of a greater good to it, or there's elements of like justifiability to it. So something like the Knights of the Old Republic games, you can be the villain in those, but you're not entirely evil. There's still reasoning behind what you're doing. There is logical thought behind the bad actions that you take. Joker is not a logical being. Joker is not someone where the logic of his actions can really be rationalized. No matter what the take is on him, if it's a modern day take, it makes sense in some ways why he does what he does. It's all a joke, it's all a game, it's the chase, it's the opposite to Batman, and it's a thrill, it's fun, it's sending a message and proving to society that they're no better than him in a lot of these different takes, but it's also not an easy thing to accomplish in gaming format, I don't think. I also wonder what the level structure of this would be, whether it's open world or level based. Do you just have Joker go around taking out civilians? Do you encourage him in a GTA style game to go about the main story? How do you even do that without making it just bizarre in a bad way that's not entertaining to people? This is a character that really does work well with an opposite. And so that's sort of the issue then, is do you introduce Batman into this game to be his opposite? And if so, how do you do so? I mean, you could sort of do something like a Batman the White Knight game, which really focuses on Joker in a different light. But even that actually sacrifices a lot of the insanity of Joker in order to go in a different direction with the character. And that insanity is one of the hardest things to reconcile in terms of who the character is. We can even look at other characters, by the way, who do go on murderous rampages, someone like Hitman, Agent 47, and there is a logical, clear-cut reasoning to what they're doing. And most of the time, it's not really a good guy that he's going after. Because the Joker has no regard for human life, like I mentioned in several different instances here, it makes it very hard to have him just go after villains. I mean, that would just turn the Joker into an anti-hero. And that's really not what the Joker is or what he's ever been. That's why I think the Joker works best as an antagonist, not as the protagonist. I think that it's very rare when a company or an individual can pull off protagonist Joker in a good way. I think that the Joker movie was able to do that, but it was also extremely focused. It had messages that it was trying to get across about society that we live in. And it was very short. It was a couple hours. You know, you can't have a game be that short and have people not be complaining about it, especially in modern day with a AAA game. If you gave people a Joker video game, they would expect probably a 20 to 30 hour experience. And how do you fill that with anything other than just edgy garbage? Because I think a lot of people don't understand the Joker. They don't understand the joke. They don't understand the motivations behind him. And part of that is that they're never fully explained. I mean, that's one of the things that is kept purposely vague about the Joker, is what is his motivation? Why is he the way he is? And can he ever be saved? And the answer to that last one is generally no, because he doesn't want to be. And then how do you turn that into a video game? I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think this is a concept that's very difficult to do without it just being edgy garbage that's just pointless, or really just, I guess, controversial to be controversial. Because it's totally fine to be controversial, but if that's your only reason for existing, I think your product is usually garbage, and you might as well have made something else, just generally. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd be interested to hear what your take on a Joker game would be. What would you want it to be? Do you want something like The White Knight, or maybe a game progressing towards becoming the Joker? Maybe you start out as a comedian and you sort of move into that, but at that point, can't you just watch the movie? I don't know. This is a complicated one. Definitely interested to hear your takes. Be sure to like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more content, turn that bell on so you can see all the new uploads we do. We do a lot of stuff other than Batman, and I really, really am trying to branch out. So if you can check out some of that stuff, that would mean the world to me. Be sure to check out the Discord, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Peace.